President Trump signed 3 executive orders the week of January 23, 2017, with, which offend the dignity and threaten the rights of immigrants and refugees both in the United States and globally. We live in an age right now where rights are being violated every day. Who in here would stand up for what is right or continue to look the other way? Ruben Salazar felt the need to stand up for what is right and advocate for Chicano and Mexican American rights. Ruben Salazar was born on March 3, 1928, in Juarez, Mexico. When he was 8 months old, his parents decided moving him and his sister to El Paso, Texas was necessary. On October 15, 1947, Salazar became a naturalized citizen. While growing up, Salazar attended public schools, and after graduating high school in 1946, he served in the military for 2 years. Salazar's hard work continued after when he was accepted at the University of Texas at El Paso, then known as Texas Western College. While in college, he wrote an article, The Shot World, for the school paper and also worked as a managing editor. Salazar graduated in 1954 with a bachelor's degree in journalism. On August 29, 1970, Ruben Salazar, at age 42, was killed during a Chicano Mortem march that was held to protest against the Mexican Americans dying in Vietnam. Salazar decided to take a break and sit down to enjoy a beer when tear gas ammunition came through the window and hit him directly in the head. Some believe this attack was premeditated, although it is unclear if this is true. Salazar's death raised a higher consciousness for a lot of the next generation's advocates. Salazar is survived by his wife Sally and 3 kids, Lisa, Stephanie, and John Salazar. Salazar began working straight out of college. He was ambitious and hungry for change, and the injustice he saw drove him to not only cross barriers in journalism, but also become the first Latino reporter for the Herald Post. During his short time at the Herald Post, Salazar took the position as an investigative journalist, and seeing that there was injustice in the prison system, Salazar managed to get himself arrested on false drunk driving charges to obtain knowledge and speak out against it, the first of many things he spoke out against. In 1956, Salazar moved to Northern California to write for the Santa Rosa Press-Democrat, eventually finding himself writing for the San Francisco News. Salazar, not wanting to be confined to Mexican affairs and being the bright young man he felt he needed to move. Salazar moved to Southern California to work for the Los Angeles Times, which would become his mainstay for more than a decade, according to the University of Southern California. Salazar struggles with understanding himself as a Mexican American, and this helps him drive his motivation while working for the Los Angeles Times. Salazar is killing it. He begins to write articles such as Humans Not Race Are Important, says proprietor Eisenhower's returning to Gettysburg by train, and firing a Viet general opened Pandora's box. Ruben Salazar was gaining a lot of social capital, which at the time was not common. Salazar also noticed that the people who were running Los Angeles had mindsets of the 1930s, and despite racism, Salazar managed to fit in quite well by carrying himself as a professional. He managed to be a survivor in a hostile environment, and at the time, diversity did not exist. In 1965, Salazar's hard work and ambition led him to be named Mexico City Bureau Chief. This is the beginning of the end for Salazar, and while he works in Mexico, his heart remains in LA. Salazar, having so much potential, now living in Mexico as a foreign correspondent, he covers media that is still being covered today, such as immigration, border development, and drug trafficking. During Salazar's career, he was watched very closely by government officials, tracking his every move and making sure he is within his guidelines. Salazar's career as a foreign correspondent did not last long when he was sent home. According to a PBS web article, he left his full-time reporting gig on April 1970 for a job as a news director of KMEX. Ruben Salazar Project, a fledgling Spanish-language TV station, staying on at the Times in the new role of part-time columnist. Salazar was not happy about being sent home, and although it was not the best situation, Salazar was able to make the best of it and write articles that stood for Mexican Americans. During the 1970s, LA was not the best place to live. Racism was going on, and what inspired Ruben Salazar was the Black Revolution. Salazar understood the Mexican Americans were treated different, and understood that the media was not covering Mexican American affairs. And although his ego was hurt from being sent home, he continued to write articles. Salazar noticed Mexican American leaders were phony. This called for some tension, but Salazar handles it very well. Salazar had a beautiful family, but his wife did not support the Mexican culture. This drives Salazar to become an activist for the Mexican Americans, and according to a YouTube video titled "The Death of Ruben Salazar," Phil Montes, a longtime friend of Salazar, says, "Gringos don't have anything on Mexicans." Salazar believed it was foolish to think that the Mexicans were supposed to be half-assed white men, something that we all struggle with, even today. Salazar had a voice, and at this time in his life, he had an opportunity to write about real Mexican-American affairs. News was a luxury. Salazar understood this. The best decision was to take the position for KMX on April 1970. He finally had the platform he needed to voice his beautiful voice. Salazar was frustrated. He wanted to connect with his people on a different level. Salazar only wanted to advocate now for the Mexican American community. He notices the news media wasn't covering anything that is truly important. The death of the Sanchez brothers really pissed off Salazar, causing him to interview victims of the shootout. Salazar did such a good job that the LAPD was indicted. Salazar was later confronted by police in a threatening matter, telling him that his reports could have heavy impact on the police image. Salazar did not get lost in the situation. He continued to write articles that made people really think. Although he was being told he could not write about the real news, Salazar continued to tell the truth. He truly believed in human rights. At this time, Salazar expressed very openly that he was being followed. Some say no, but if we take a look back in history, most great leaders get killed. Salazar was a believer in protest, and he believed it was not right for Mexican Americans to be fighting in a war, to come home and be disrespected. On August 29, 1970, Ruben Salazar's life was taken when he decided to take a break from the riot. Salazar knew it was not a peaceful protest. Deciding to take a break, Salazar decided to sit down and enjoy a beer, still very aware that he is being followed. As he is relaxing, a man in a red vest claims men with gun ran into the $0 cafe. This was not true. Salazar is shot in the head with tear gas. Salazar's biggest achievements were becoming the two-time winner of the Greater Los Angeles Press Club Award in 1965. And he was presented with an award for the Equal Opportunity Foundation. In 1971, Salazar was awarded a special Robert F. Kennedy Journalism Award. His legacy lived on when on October 5, 2007, the United States Postal Service announced that it would honor 5 journalists of the 20th century with first-class rate postage stamps to be issued Tuesday, April 22, 2008. Salazar was ambitious and his heart was pure. It led him to stand up against injustice. He understood he was Mexican and wanted to fight for the rights of his people.